OMG, can you make homemade macaroni and cheese, please? Sure, and I'll make some meatloaf too. I preheat the oven to 350. I dice a fourth cup of green pepper, a fourth cup of red pepper, and a half a cup of onion. I put 2.5 pounds of ground beef in a bowl. I add a half a cup of onion, a fourth cup of green peppers and red peppers. I add a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, a half a tablespoon of dried parsley flakes, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of Cajun seasoning, 1 teaspoon of adobo seasoning, 1/4 cup of ketchup, 1 tablespoon of mustard, and 12 crumbled saltine crackers. I mix it all together. I also added a half a teaspoon of salt. I mixed that in. I put it in my baking dish and I form a loaf. Once I form a loaf, I cover with aluminum foil. I place it on the bottom rack of the preheated oven. I set the timer to 1 hour. I melt a stick of butter in a pot. I shred some smoked Gouda cheese. I add a heaping cup of it. I shredded some sharp cheddar cheese. I add 2 cups of it. I cut up 4 ounces of Velveeta cheese. I add that also. I add 1.5 cups of milk. I add a half a teaspoon of salt and a half a teaspoon of pepper. I cook it on low. Bring 8 cups of water and 1 teaspoon of salt to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, I add 2 cups of elbow pasta. I stir immediately. Let it cook for about 9 to 11 minutes according to package. I put a cup of ketchup in a bowl. I add 3 tablespoons of brown sugar and I whisk it together. I strain the pasta and I add it to a bowl. I add the cheese. I mix it together. I add the cheese and the pasta to a baking dish. I sprinkle shredded cheese on top. I place it in the 350-degree preheated oven. I set the cooking time to 25 minutes. Once the timer goes off, I remove the meatloaf and the foil. I drain the majority of the fat. I spread the ketchup and brown sugar on top, like so. I place it in the oven. Set the timer to 15 minutes.
This meatloaf tastes good.
Thank you, Elsie.
You're welcome. This macaroni and cheese tastes good.
Thank you, Elsie.
You're welcome.